Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Mus'ab Muhammad Ahmed Ibrahim, and today, inshallah, I'm going to talk about an international issue, which is Taiwan is worried about the security of its chip industry. And let's go.
Hey there! Do you know what is Taiwan's biggest concern as a country in the field of industry? Don't you? It's alright, because today I'll be talking about some points about chip manufacturing in Taiwan and some related topics to economic. Let's dig in. Sorry, I didn't tell you my name. I'm Mus'ab Muhammad, and you can call me Mo. Back in the time, in the good old days, and specifically in 1949. 1949? You weren't born back then. Come on! In 1949, a conflict between China and Taiwan has started and affected both countries in a short and long terms. When Taiwan was threatened in its chip security, and unfortunately and sadly, this conflict lasted for a long time between the two parties. It don't seem to be the good days, do they? Absolutely not. The current president of the United States of America, Joe Biden, has stated that Taiwan won't suffer in producing and manufacturing the chips. And not only this, he added, America would be the impenetrable barrier for Taiwan for any menace from China. And why would America interfere in a conflict between two countries in Southeast Asia? Smoke always raises from fire, they say. From my believing, I think it is for American interests to be in such thing as this, or to monopolize that immense income out of it. Is the goal to achieve market equilibrium? Or to come up with a perfect long-term plan to force that price restriction and get the biggest slice? Who knows?
As you can see, try to relate the topic with some managerial economic concepts, and I'm going to start to give you a glimpse of the chip industry, then move into the time value of money, to market equilibrium by price restriction, some akhlaq in business and sharia teaching, and then we end by incentive concepts and monopolistic competition. Chip industry overview. The semiconductor industry is the aggregate of companies engaged in the design and fabrication of semiconductor and semiconductor devices, such as transistors and integrated circuits. It formed around 1960 once the fabrication of the semiconductor devices became a viable business. Taiwanese firms manufacture the most advanced semiconductor in the world, worth 147 billion and responsible for 15% of the country's GDP. It accounts for over 15% of the island exports and is a vital aspect of the economy. It also acts as a form of security. These chips are at the heart of the most powerful computing tools, from iPhone to supercomputers. Only Intel and Samsung can make the semiconductor of this complexity, but their technology isn't as advanced as TSMC's, and they don't evolve as quickly. Time value of money. Most major corporations have taken time value of money into mind. According to the Economist journalist, Taiwan's chip industry established 139 billion yuan, which equal to $23 billion. National Semiconductor Fund in 2014, which increased by 30 billion in 2019. At least 25 billion has been invested by local governments in their funds. The government established a goal of producing 70% of its own chip by 2025, which it hopes to achieve by 2020. As time passes, prices growing owing to supply and demand, resulting in a massive changes in time value of money. Price restriction and market equilibrium. One of the reasons that seems reasonable to me is that the American government finds an interest in achieving market equilibrium via price restrictions that are imposed on Taiwan. And to do so, the US government decided to ease the path to another competitive market in order to achieve what is known as monopolistic competition. And not only this, China has announced a 10-year corporate tax exemptions for the most advanced chip producers in 2020, when it produced 16% of the chips it needed. That year, the United States imposed restrictions on chip making equipment exports to China, the world's largest semiconductor manufacturer. These incentives have resulted in a significant increase of chip manufacturing in China, as well as recruitment of numerous engineers and executives from Taiwan. According to Taiwan's government, more than 3,000 semiconductor workers, roughly 7% of Taiwan's chip workforce, moved to China between 2014 and 2019. The amendments threaten up to 12 years of prison for anyone giving national core technology trade secrets to foreign power, but do not define what constitutes core technology or trade secrets. Chip industry types apparently are enthusiastic about the rules. The government thinks it's trying to do something, but eventually they don't know how business works at the end of the day. Most of the rivals in international markets are the outcome of the monopoly in nowadays. The Akhlaq in Business and Sharia teaching. In the Quran, Allah Almighty said in Quran Kareem, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل وتدلوا بها إلى الحكام لتأكلوا فريقا من أموال الناس بالإثم وأنتم تعلمون. O you who believe, do not consume each other's wealth illicitly, but trade by mutual consent, and do not kill yourselves, for Allah is merciful towards you. From the Sunnah, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ gave us an advice between the merchant and the buyer, and the Prophet said, he who deceives is not of us. Last but not least, Muslims should love good for their brothers and all people, and avoid selfishness and monopolizing goods of raising their prices without awareness of the poor and needy people. And let the Muslim know that Allah is watching and knowing, so he'd give charity, improve behavior, and is honest in dealing, whether he is the merchant or the buyer. And it seems we got to the end. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you inshallah next time.